Good evening, Facebook. This is Cynthia Bennett with JADASA Live, also YouTube channel, social media. We have actually a special discussion that I wanted to do tonight versus what we had already scheduled for tomorrow. We know that starting next week, a lot of people are out for the holiday seasons, for other things. And so we just decided to come on and do this special today on Sunday. We hope that you go out and like and share this broadcast. Call your family, your friends, and anybody, because we are going to talk about something that affects everybody in the world. Black, white, rich, poor, saved, unsaved, whatever the situation, whatever the status is that you hold, it affects you. And so, again, my name is Cynthia Bennett. I am with JADASA Live. Also, we have Cynthia Crawford, and also we have Dr. Donna Scott. I want to thank you guys for coming on. This discussion, this month.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. So again, you all, you know what JADASA stands for, but this is something that's for the community, where we come out to educate, encourage, and empower the community through very topics of discussion. And tonight we are just talking about coping during this holiday season because of over more than 311,000 deaths in the United States. That's just due to COVID. We're not even talking about natural causes or any other causes. We're talking about strictly dealing with COVID-19, where now people's lives have shattered forever. And now we're coming up on this holiday where, you know, it says 'tis the season to be jolly, and that's everything but what it is this season. So we're just to kind of just talk about ways to cope, because, you know, we got to get through this, good, bad, and indifferent. We have to get through this, and we want to help you, those that are struggling during this time to get through it. You know, we're here to help you. So I'm going to ask these ladies to share with you who they are, the organization they're with, and how you can contact them as well. And before I start that, you can also go to my JADASA page and also go to the website www.jadasa.org. You can also see any of the previous recordings or the discussions that we've had since this pandemic started out there to assist you and to help you in any shape, form, or fashion that you need. Also, you can also reach out to me through 1-800-292-2145 as well. So I'm going to turn this over to Lady Cynthia Crawford and share with us who you are and your organization and any information that you can give our viewers.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Crawford, and it's a blessing and it's wonderful to be here this evening. I am the wife of Pastor Byron C. Crawford, and we are with Breakthrough Worship Ministries. And also, I am a victim advocate. I work with victims of domestic abuse. I work with children that have been molested, raped. I work at Scott Air Force Base, and my time spent with the military members, it's very vital. It's a very crucial and vital environment to try and help people make it through the process of domestic abuse. I see a lot of it. I see multiple areas of domestic violence in multiple ways, on base and off base. And so I am available to anyone that is in need of, if it's just conversation, if it's a safety plan, if your child has been abducted or molested, any form of abuse, domestic abuse, and if you just need counseling, please call me. My number is
Thank you.
My number is area code 314-392-7146. Again, 314-392-7146. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Someone just said they lost their father 2 months ago. They're coming in already. I'll have to show you on the screen. Dr. Scott, please.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you Director Bennett for allowing this opportunity to come on. I am the CEO founder of Unmasking Suicide. I do suicide intervention and prevention training, mental health advocacy, mental health and depression training. I also do QPR certified training, and I am an advocate for mental health. Any information that you need from me, you can always go to my personal website, and it has links to every area of ministry. I'm an author of one book, The Demonization of Mental Illness. That's available also on the website. But the website is www.dmsministry.org. www.dmsministry.org. And anything there is, I am an advocate and passionate wellness advocate for mental health. All of us have a concern for our mental health. I know we run from it. And I didn't say mental illness, but all of us should be concerned about our mental health. And COVID-19 has tested all of our mental health. And I'm sure we'll get into it. I don't want to go any further. So that's my introduction, www.dmsministry.org. All right.
Awesome, awesome. So again, ladies, I want to thank you guys for coming out. And one thing I always tell our viewers, and I tell the ladies that work with me, there is no one organization or one person can do it all. I'm not going to try to do it all because I can't. There's some people I can reach, you probably can't reach, and vice versa. There's some people you can reach, I cannot reach. But if we come together collectively, we can reach the masses, and this broadcast is not just for St. Louis. This is for anybody who's listening, because guess what? Abuse and grief and depression and mental health, it crosses all boundaries. There is no boundary on it. It's just in the Black area or the young folks or the saved people or, the criminals. No, this crosses everybody in every facet, from the rich to the poor. And so we're here to just talk about, coping. Someone just put in there, they lost their father 2 months ago. Christina, we were praying for you, and, we're sorry to hear that, Christina Hinhock. I'll put her comment out there. I know that's a bad, that's a thing, because, I understand the pain, having buried 6 siblings and both my parents. I understand this season right here, and so I have to choose to be, because even though, in my mind, I feel like, they've left me, they going on and stuff, but God still has something for us to do. And so I choose to think about the good memories, because if I think about what they left, if I think about the void, if I think about the emptiness, then Donna Scott, I'm going to need some mental health. I'm going to be calling you, because we always tend to think about the lack and the loss. And yes, some of this is probably fresh to you guys, but it doesn't get old. It just becomes tolerable. That's it, And so with this conversation that we're having, there's over, at least as of yesterday, Donna Scott said, 311,000 families affected this holiday season. That in January of 2020, they didn't know they was going to be here. Now, of course, none of us know that. None of us know that. But because of this pandemic has ravished the country, the world, now we got people left to pick up pieces that they don't even know where they're at. So what do we do, ladies? What do you do? What do you say to these viewers that's about the picking up these pieces to even cope?
Well, to Christina, I really want to say to you that 2 months is really, really raw. You're really raw, and I can't imagine right now what you're feeling and what you're going through. But I want to encourage you to have grace on yourself, have mercy on you. What you're going through is complicated because of a loss of your father, but it's exacerbated because of where we are. Here's the thing. Grief is not solely limited to death. Grief is also part of any kind of loss. So first of all of us have lost normalcy in our life.
Yes.
What we're going through now, we've never been through before. So there is a measure of grief that all of us are suffering when it comes to loss of normalcy. Now, Christina, when you put a death on top of that, you have something called cumulative grief, which then causes the cycle of grief to be very complicated. At 2 months, I'm sure your rawness is different than you can ever imagine. What you want to do is make sure that you have people around you that can help you and that know you well enough to know when you are getting stuck, right? What I'm saying is there is a grief cycle. We should step through those cycles. There's 5, but we don't know, for each person is very individual. It's unique to you, Christina, but you do not want to stay in one cycle too long. You get stuck. And that people around you will help you do, not get stuck in one place. Now, that does not mean that if you're in cycle 1, that you won't jump to cycle 5. But then you may jump back after 5 to 1. But someone should be there to help you step through it. That's one of the major things I want to say to the audience is in this time, we want to make sure that we are surrounded by people. We cannot physically be surrounded, but have contact at least. For those of you that know people that have lost loved ones, please don't stop contacting them.
And also
bother them if you need to. Nerves if you need to. Right.
So also, Donna Scott, you were saying not only just loss, you know, people have lost their jobs, they've lost their livelihoods, you know, so like you said, it's not only just relationships, because I was looking at an article and they said the main 3 triggers of holiday stress and depression during this time is relationship or the loss of one, finances or the loss of it, and physical demands, overextending ourselves and trying to you know, be there for everybody but ourselves. You know, and trying to, you know, another thing it says also sometimes in this season, you might need to stay off of TV and social media, because, you know, folks can put like they having a holly jolly Christmas and everybody got the miracle life or miracle 34th Street scenario in their life and everything's just hunky dory, and you're sitting here wondering, okay, Lord, why me? Why I'm in this space? And a lot of times that's when the depression will creep in, because we're looking and comparing our situation and not knowing what's going on the other side. Because people go always, you know, you go always put your big picture, your best picture up, right? You're not gonna put your stuff out there. You go put the best picture, the best scenario on face or social media for others to see, and it may not be so. And so that's one of the things.
And also, I'd like to chime in on that. With the loss of a family member, of a parent, it's very difficult during that season and time. And when it's compiled, when it's stacked up with, as you're saying, the holiday season, and right now with this pandemic, we have the isolation period. If you encounter someone that has COVID, then they want you to isolate 7 to 14 days. And that, along with already feeling the grief and the pain, and sometimes people around you don't know how to help you. And so sometimes they choose not to call or not to communicate because they don't know what to say. Don't get offended with that, Christina, but just know that in this process of grief, that God is with you. God is your comforter, and on the days when you just don't want to get out of bed. I've experienced that when my mom passed. I would even make the mistake of calling my mom's house and just letting the phone ring. And then it dawned on me that she wasn't there.
Mhm.
So relating to the loss and the grief of a parent, I can do that and say to you, 2 months is very fresh,
Yes.
but
Yes.
just do your best to connect with someone that you feel comfortable enough with to cry if you have to cry,
Right.
or to sit on a Zoom call and just look at somebody else's face that you feel close to,
Right.
because the connection of human beings is what helps us to get through.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want to chime in. Christina said, how do I not be so angry at my husband, even when he's not doing anything wrong, but supporting me? And so we tend to put expectations, high expectations on others. You know, they're there, but their expectation may be here, but then your expectation of them is up here. And so now there's that disappointment, there's that anger to come in. And so we have to allow people to uh, comfort the best way they know how. They're not gonna come. I don't expect people, and I had to learn that the hard way. After, like I said, burying so many people, you know, six siblings, and it was nine of us. It's nine of my husband. Six of mine is gone. He got all of his. So, you know, you have to make sure you don't put yourself in the comparison trap. You know, okay, well, wow, what's going on that, you know, what's with my family that they all gone, but then, you know, you still got all of yours, you know, and so we have to make sure that, you know, allow people to comfort you where you are, because now that you're getting angry is because sometimes we put expectations on people and they may can't meet that expectation. Am I correct or wrong? Or help me somebody, ladies. Am I wrong with
Yeah. So Christina, here's the thing. Part of the cycle of grief includes anger
Mm-hmm.
at the fact that you lost your loved one. And
right?
what you're doing is projecting because you don't know where to place that anger. And the closest person to you is your husband. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to know the anger is not at him. The anger is at the fact that you lost something very dear and true to you. That's part of the grief cycle that you're going through. And that will happen. And then you'll come out of that and you'll get into something else. What you have to know is all that has to transpire so that you don't push that grief down. Because
Right.
if you push it down, that's repression, and you'll end up having to face it later on in a different form.
Yes.
Not just in sadness, but you'll end up having to face it in a physical condition because grief doesn't go away, right? What's being emitted from your brain are chemicals that causes your body to change physically. That's why you feel tired and fatigued, because the chemicals that's being released cause you to feel that way. If you have a relationship with the Lord, all you can do is say help. You
Mm-hmm.
need other people that will intercede for you and will have intercession prayer for you. Because many times in the midst of grief, we cannot pray for ourselves,
Right.
right? So
Exactly.
what
Right.
happens, we beat ourselves up because, well, why am I not praying? You can't. The darkness that you're feeling has encompassed you to the place that you don't have the energy, the strength, or the hope to pray. But somebody else can pray for you.
Yes.
That's why
Yes.
I encourage you, make sure there's someone around you that can intercede for you. The anger isn't new. That's not new just to you. It's part of the process. It's part of it. But what you want to do, I want to warn you also, your previous comment talked about your thoughts in the middle of the night after your husband is gone. I want to encourage you, find something that's soothing for you, right? For those of us that understand soaking music, that's a good thing to have on, to hear something that will calm your inner person, right? You need
Yes.
something that
Yes.
will calm you. You need maybe some tea that will calm you. Find something that can calm you, because the mind will race and it'll come. You're in a lane of hopelessness, That's a very critical place that you're in. In that lane, thoughts come that you would not normally have.
Yes.
To calm your body helps you regulate those thoughts. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can do. Here's a very troubling statistic about what we're going through right now. So we know that COVID-19 has disproportionately affected the African American community. We're dying at a rate. In Louisiana, for instance, we make up 39% of the population, but 56% of the deaths from COVID. African Americans do. Here's the startling statistic that really concerns my heart: is that from the time that we went on isolation in March of this year to May of this year, there is a study that just came out that said African American suicides have increased by double, while white Americans have decreased by double. Why is that?
Why is that?
Because we are not just losing family members. On top of losing our family members, we're losing jobs. We're economically. We're losing the ability to congregate with others. All of collectively adds to the outlook of life. Suicide is never about death. It's never about death. It's about relieving pain.
Yes.
When you don't see an outlet from the pain, then your only hope is death. And so that's why people go down that lane. I want to say to anybody listening that have family members that you know have suffered back to back to back hits of life, period.
Yes.
That's death. But period, life has dealt them cards in this last few months like never before. Check on those people. There's a young man in our church, and he posts every once in a while. He says, check on your strong friends. Check on
Right.
This thing is affecting everybody.
Yes.
How strong you think you are.
That's the truth.
It is affecting everybody. And maybe they are strong, but they also need an outlet to help go through the process of where we all are. These are alarming numbers in our communities. We are forced to go to work. We are forced to get on public transit.
Yes.
We're working in jobs that puts us at risk because we work at Schnucks and Deerbergs, and many of us, the kind of jobs that we have. What they find in this study is that because our white brothers and sisters are able to work from home and are not subject to infection, that their anxiety and stress levels are lower than those in the African American community, because now we have to leave the house because we have to work and we have to be in the public, and we are always at risk. And so I want to encourage you, please check on your strong friends.
Yes, check on your strong friends.
I promise you, we need somebody.
How long would these feelings last? We can't gauge that, because this is your experience.
Right.
This is your experience. We can just give you some tools to help you get past it, because it's a process. And a lot of times we like to circumvent the process, because nobody wants pain. I don't want pain. I'm sure none of these ladies that's on this panel with me, none of us wants to deal with pain or to experience pain, but we don't want you to get stuck there. Go through, because it's a process. Because if you don't, it's going to come, as Dr. Scott said, it's going to come around and it's going to manifest in some other way. Somebody may just come and ask you a simple question about something that has nothing to do with anything, and you blow up on them. That's because you have suppressed those feelings, you know. So when those feelings come, first acknowledge them. Acknowledge they are there. You have to acknowledge them. Don't press them down and say, nah, because you want to get it, because what's in you go come out of you.
Right.
What's in you go come out of you. And so anybody else want to share?
Also, Christina, you're saying that you recognize that it's not fair to your husband what you're feeling, and that of your fear of what he might do or what may happen within your marriage. And I'd like to suggest to you to talk with him. Be vulnerable at this point with him, and to let him know how you're feeling, and that the feeling of anger or the emotion that you're feeling is not against him. It's not toward him, but it's just what you're feeling right now. And you, at this point, you don't even need him to say anything back. If you can just express to him what you're feeling, that will make a difference in relating to him and giving him the opportunity to say, yes, I understand. Or if he doesn't say anything, that still is a form of communicating what you feel that will help mend and help him to see what you're struggling with.
Right. So, ladies, we're going to continue with this. This is very good. And we want to have anybody that puts in comments. We're going to share the comments across the screen. But, coping during this time, this season, every season, any season we're in, when there's a lack of a void or something, it's heightened. First Mother's Day, the first Father's Day, the first of the first. So, now we're going into this week. This is week, you see the Christmas Carol and the movies, you see all the joyous stuff outside that what can we talk to people, because a lot of people shut in, and it's even worse now because everybody's quarantining, supposed to be, but we're in the house more now than we would have had it not been a pandemic. So what are some of the things that we should look out for? And it's not everybody that's on this line. We're not saying you're the victim, but maybe you can help somebody. We just put some things out there, and you can trigger. Oh, okay, that's so and so. Well, we want you to reach out to them. We want you to reach out, because everybody is not fine.
Right.
Everybody is not fine. I've had my moments still to this day. And the thing about it with grief, and the thing about it with lack and stuff during this time, sometimes that feeling comes from left field. You minding your business. You probably even, singing a song or humming to yourself, and all of a sudden a song will come to your mind, or a picture, you will see the picture, or a smell, or somebody cooking something, or whatever, something that will trigger that memory. And all of a sudden, you're thrown for a loop. But we don't want you to stay there. Get back. I have my moment.
Right.
We're transparent.
So triggers are big. Triggers are really big.
They are.
Yeah. But you have to know your triggers. Know your triggers. Know your triggers, and then we come up with ways to combat that.
Yeah.
And so we need to come up with ways to combat triggers, because we all gonna have them. Everybody on this panel, we have suffered some lack in some shape, form, or fashion. So we're going through with you. We're not up here and talking to you down here. No, we've been there, done that. We're right in the thicket with you guys, right in the thicket. But we have to choose. It's like, even though sometimes it may be hard for you to choose, like Donna Scott say, sometimes you might say, this is too big for me. Then that's where those that's online, you need to recognize some of the things when you talk. If you talk to somebody all the time, or you're texting them, or you email, you can tell when something is kind of slight off with that person. If you used to communicate with them, you can kind of tell, okay, she give me these one-liners on these emails. I done sent a whole paragraph and she didn't say yes or whatever. Those are clues. When there's an intervention needs to take place. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There is an intervention that needs to take place, because
and we need to, and when we talk about the triggers and knowing, and that's so individual. Like you said, it could be so very random. Holidays, it's that way anyway. And one of the things you want to try to do is rehearse good memories. You want to rehearse those. It's okay to think about the person that has gone on. What you want to think about, though, are the good things about. Now, let me say this. There's a scripture that gives a real clear picture. When Jesus came to see about Lazarus. And so one of the things that happened is all around Mary and Martha were what they called in biblical days professional mourners. People who they knew they were tear jerkers, they pulled tears out of you, all of that. But Jesus took Mary and Martha apart from them. What does that have to do with you tonight? Anybody that have folk who are negative about where you are, get away from them people.
Exactly.
You some positive people that will speak into your life. You don't
need to say that again.
Pull your tears out of you, right? You need folk around you that's going to encourage. Know where you are, empathize with where you are, but you don't want them to get in the dirt with you. You want to pull you up. You want people that can encourage you, because you can't hear anything positive right now. It's dark. It's like if you turn all the lights out in your house, as much as you probably know your house, if it's pitch black, you probably still going to go on something.
That's right.
Because your vision isn't clear. You're in a dark space now. Trying to pull up positive things is hard. But you want people who can do that for you, who can speak into your life, you know, and tell you, listen, it's not going to always be like this. That doesn't mean you're not going to always miss the individual, but there's a difference between having grief for the situation and then wearing grief on a continuous basis. Some of us find comfort in grief where then we put it on as a cloak. But what we want to do is process through the grief so that on the other side, we can still remember our loved ones, but not with the same pain. If 5 years from now, you are still feeling the same pain that you felt when they died 5 years ago, there should be some question about where you are. Doesn't mean you don't miss them, doesn't mean you won't cry. What I'm saying is that self-assessment, nobody can judge that but you. But you have to be honest with yourself. But if you're there, find some people that will encourage you. And really have grace on yourself. One more point. Have grace on yourself. I know what it feels like to feel like you don't want to laugh again. My dad's gone. He doesn't have a life. I don't have a right to live. That's part of the process. We think that way. We think there's some betrayal in the fact that I keep living. But I promise you, your loved one wants you to keep living. They want you to continue on. They don't want you in the place that you're in. If your dad was here, he'd say, Christina, I want you to live life, is what he would tell you. And so remember that in your mind.
Right. Again, and so Dr. Scott, she said that, you know, and you was talking about where you saying if somewhere 5 years down the line, and you still having those. And so, you know, I'm going to throw it out there. I have a book that I authored too, and it's called The Healing of Your Memories. And it talks about triggers, and it talks about all these. It's not just abuse, but abuse, death of a loved one, a child, abandonment, all these things that are traumatic to the psyche. That's traumatic events. And one of the things it talks about how you know when you're healed is when you can go back on that memory and you do not feel or have the same results, or you don't feel and behave the same way that you did when it was fresh. When it first happened. That's how you know you are healed in your memories, because that's one of the last things, Sister Donna, that heals.
That's right. It's your memory.
That's right.
That heals is your memory.
That's right.
Is your memory.
So the thing about it, you know, even with the, you know, Sister Christina, yes, we all been there. Like I told you about my family, I can go back and look at my family and think about the things we did, especially during this time.
Right.
I think about the potluck dinners and coming in and end up, you know, getting in a fight after card games. So I remember all of that, so I can laugh at that because that was then. Now, are they still here? No. But do I cry tears and stuff? Yes, because those are human emotions. Those are human emotions. If let them out, don't keep them in. But it's a process, and it's also a way of you can understand, like Donna Scott, the progression. Because if you're down 2 or 3 years down the line, and you think of this particular person, who your dad or your mom or whoever this is, and you still having those same feelings and you having those same reactions as if it was fresh the day of, that tells you that you have not healed in your memories.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And
sure.
and that's what we hear. Huh?
What the what the devil would like to tell us is that nobody knows how we feel.
Right.
I'm the only one that feels this way. Don't nobody know. That's what the enemy wants to say. But I promise you, what you are feeling is what we all go through. And we are on the other side. And what we are here to say to anybody that's there now, that there is another side.
Yes.
You will get through it. Now, in your time, but you will not always be there. Everything we experience in the earth realm is temporary, not permanent. It will change for you. Let it happen in its right cycle that's good for you. Don't fight it. Just allow it to happen and then ask God for help through it. Even if you have, she's saying she asked God why. It's okay to ask God questions. I don't know who came up. You don't ask God no questions. Or this one too. You don't get mad at God. Yes, you do.
Yes, yes, you do.
Mom, yes. I watched my mother die for 50 days this March in the hospital every day, and she died a little every day. I watched her. But while I watched her, my faith, I prayed for my mother, that my mother would come out of what she was going through, because I know a miracle working God. But when she passed, I didn't understand, God, why? I didn't understand that. At some point in the process of my grief, I was able to say that I don't know all things, and I'm not going to get I still don't have the answer. But my comfort is that I serve a God who is sovereign, who knows all things and never makes a mistake. Yes. And as much as he's still there to help me in my pain, and then maybe by and by I'll understand. But we have to ask God to help us. And if we have to tell God, listen, if you angry at him, you think he don't know that already?
Yes, he does.
Right.
He already know it. For sure, he knows it.
I can truly say that. I can truly say that with me. When my mom passed, I didn't realize that I was angry with God, but I know I was going through a lot of heavy emotions. And I was pregnant at the time, so I was very angry, very angry. And one day, this was after I had my child and was still living, but living with the pain that my mom never saw my children. My mom didn't know them. It was so painful. And one day I finally had to say, God, I'm just mad at you. I had to realize that it was no one else around me, but I was angry with God. And the moment I said that, because I couldn't understand it, the moment I said that, the Lord began to heal me in my emotion. He began to heal my heart. He began to move the pain of the loss, the grief that I was in. And I moved to the other side of that grief. I moved to the other side of that pain, and the understanding by and by. I still can't tell you that I understand why my mom passed at 47. I can't tell you that. But I do know that I had to first admit to where I was.
Mm-hmm. And what that is likely likened to is a sore with a Band-Aid on it. Mm-hmm. If you continue to keep the Band-Aid on the sore, it'll never get a scab.
Right.
But what you did, Lady Crawford, is you snatched the Band-Aid off, and you allowed God to address what was going on. He's such a gentleman. This is what I love about the God we serve. He doesn't force anything on us. He's not like the devil. The devil make you do all kind of stuff, right? When I was in the world, he had me doing all kind of stuff. But God, who has all power, waits on us to be knocking, but he waits on us to open the door. And so he says, as soon as you are honest with me about where you are, now I can come in and heal.
I can do something
put it this way. He said he waits patiently. My God. What? He waits patiently in line.
That's right.
To bring us the comfort we need.
That's
But
right.
But we fight against it. Right? We go for comfort every place else. A bottle, some smoke, a relationship, whatever. And all that stuff fails us because the real healing you need is internal and only your creator can fix it. So after that is done, then he says, now, do you want me to help you?
Are you ready?
And the thing about it, you know,
viewers, and then you know what? If it was me, y'all should be happy I'm not God. But if it was me, after I waited online for you so I can help you do what I knew I could do, I got out of line a long time ago and been like, whatever, you go. But he waits patiently on us to allow him to give us what we need from the beginning. So wait on God.
For us to acknowledge that it's him that we need.
Right. And the thing about it, you know, this what we're talking about, this applies to deaths of a person, deaths of relationships, a loss of a job, all of this, anything that's coming up that, you know, the families are feeling the effects. This is not a jolly season. That's why we didn't come on here saying happy holidays. We know Jesus is the reason for the season. We do know that. We understand that. We preach that. We say that. But the human side of us, because some of us are sitting in our house by ourselves, lonely, wishing and waiting on somebody to at least call and check up on to see if we're still living, see if we're okay. Because everybody that's on Facebook, they're not okay. They're not okay.
That's right.
They're looking at different avenues to use to, you know, get whatever it is they're trying to get out. And so that's what we're here to talk about. Just the coping. This is coping season. This is not the jolly season. This is coping season. And it doesn't equate to just December. It's whatever season you're in, is whatever
your life
is in your life. This is coping season. And that's what we're here to help you. So ladies, Cynthia Crawford. So some of the things, you know, what have you experienced and what can you share? Because I'm sure there are some people that logged in and who will log in. They may not deal with death of a spouse. They can do death of a relationship. Their relationship is gone. They started off the year with one. And now there is no more. They have to start over. It was two, but now it's them by themselves, or raising kids by themselves, or they're in the house by themselves. And so, you know, now they're dealing with, I got to do all this stuff by myself. It's on me. It's on me. And so then that's the part of the overextending where it says one of the triggers, overextending yourself, trying to physical demands. We're trying to meet demands that may be unrealistic. And so we have to, because a lot of times we place unrealistic demands on ourselves.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And we have to be okay with saying no.
Right.
But not today.
No is an answer, period. Behind no, there should be a period at some times in our lives. You have to be able to say no. And one thing that I am seeing on a daily basis is that during this pandemic, the volatile relationships, things that maybe did not or would not have happened had the people in the community had the freedom to go and come and to do the things that they normally would do. Well, they're stuck in the house now with each other. The children are stuck in the house with their parents, the husband and wife, or the partner, or whatever that is. And because they are stuck in the house, those that are basically abiding by the pandemic rules, you get to see a whole nother side of a person that if you're used to spending 8 to 12 hours a day outside of the house, but now you're in the house almost 24 hours a day, what does that do to a person? What does that do to a child? What does that do? Well, I've seen many children now that are facing such abuse. They are starving, they're hungry, they're facing parental abuse from their parents, because the school, what's happening in school, and they're learning. And so I see children that are black and blue now because their parents have abused them. I see women that are black and blue now. I see men that are black and blue. People that the ability to relate and to communicate has almost literally gone out the window because of the pressure that they are now facing with jobs, the economic pressure. So many things are taking place, and it is nothing but the grace of God that has allowed any of us to stand and remain in our own mind, to be able to say, okay, we have the faculties moving this morning. We're able to function. And when we find that ourselves are so far in anger, in grief, in frustration, in financial frustration, that we're able to, the key that I see and that I tell many is that you have to learn how to separate yourself. If it means going to another room, closing the door, and asking for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes of nothing, no knock on the door, no child cry, no husband, no nothing. I just need a 5-minute break.
And that's what I was saying. And I actually said, I think a couple of weeks ago, be selfish with yourself. Be selfish. You know, when I would come home, I would tell the kids, nobody talk to me. Don't ask me nothing. Don't ask me where something at. You're looking for it. Don't nothing. For 20 minutes, let me decompress, because you know how we go. We come slinging purses in the chair, and we put the apron on. And we go, washing our hands to start dinner.
Put on a different hat. That's right.
We don't sit down and but it's okay to take care and be selfish with yourself. And also for those, when we're talking about abuse and neglect and suicide and all those things are intertwined, on the website, I have different projects out there on the front page of the website of JADASA.org, and it talks about quarantining with your abuser, because as you say, Sister Cynthia Crawford, the numbers have risen astronomically.
Yes, they have.
In these cases since March, because guess what? The abused and abuser is home together. I had women calling me, and I'm trying to hurry up and talk and advocate for them, and they're like, okay, let me call you right back, because but the abuser in the room ear hustling.
Right, that's right.
We have to come up with ways to help them, and one of the things I told them, you go to the doctor, do you go to the pharmacist? The pharmacist is a mandated reporter. When you go to the consultation window, it's just you and that pharmacist. Tell somebody what's going on.
That's right. That's right.
And I tell them, if you're always in a household with them, first of all, you want to make it weapon proof as much as you can. Because they can pick up a can opener and use it as a weapon. And so
that's right.
And then talking to your children, hey, you sit over here, this is your spot, do your work, don't say nothing. Because everybody, when you got a house, a 3-bedroom house, and you got 4 kids and you and your husband, that's crowded. And maybe grandmama's staying with you too. That's crowded, because there are households like that. So you got all these people in here, no money coming in, you got attitudes, you got personalities rising up, you got everything. So guess what? There is going to be some tension.
Right.
And what you find out is, from a mental health perspective, is there's a difference between mental health and mental illness. We make those interchangeable, and they're not. Every person be concerned about your mental health. What COVID-19 has done is exposed that there are people who have mental health issues. Doesn't mean they have a diagnosis. Doesn't mean they DSM. Doesn't mean they have, they bipolar, any of that. But they have mental health issues. Mental health says, I know how to effectively and appropriately deal with my emotions.
Right.
COVID has exposed is most people had no coping skills when it comes to life issues.
Yes.
Now, as people that walk with God, we say, well, I cast my cares upon the Lord because he cares for me, right? And so that's one part of it, if you're able to do that. But your mental health, your brain is kind of like a bank account. I heard a brother say this recently. It's like a bank account. If you got $500 in the bank and you write $600 worth of check, you're going to get $100 worth of overdrafts, okay?
Right.
And so your brain capacity, the ability to handle life situations, all of us have a certain capacity to do that. When life throws you too many issues that the brain cannot accommodate, then you come up with ways to cope with that. And sometimes it's rage and it's acting out in physical abuse because we don't know. Men, this is very critical. I just heard this Evangelist Bennett. A lot of men who are depressed, you don't see, especially African American men, it is not manifested in sadness.
That's right.
Manifested in anger.
Yes, exactly.
Are depressed and they don't know what to do with that energy on the inside, that negative energy, and so they land out at their spouses and their significant others. Because is those people needed to have some type of therapy prior, but it's exposing it and causing many problems now. When you talk about moving away to another room, sometimes you got to turn the TV and the computer off. Relationship wise, man, I tell you, social media can be a demon for real.
Yeah.
It could be a demon, right? Because the nice, cute pictures of you and your boo.
Come on now. 5
minutes before he punched you in your neck.
Right.
And beat your children up.
That's right.
It took you 20 pictures to get the one that you posted. I don't know about you, but I don't post the first selfie I take. It's after about 5 or 6. I make sure my teeth ain't showing around, ain't no boogers in my nose. I don't post the first selfie. I want one that's gonna present well, right? That's what social media is doing, and that then we try and align our lives with what we see. Turn that mess off. That's young and turn it off.
Turn it off.
You know that stuff is bothering you. Some of them pictures them people taking, they got them off of Pinterest. They ain't even got no tree.
Right.
They ain't even got no tree. And you mad because you're upset because my kids don't got a tree. They ain't got one either. They stole that picture off of somebody else's site. It's all lies, y'all.
It is. Yes, it is.
Turn it. If it bothers you, know what bothers you, and be okay with taking care of you. It's that old adage from When You Fly, right? When you're on the plane, the first thing they tell you, you don't put the mask on the baby. You put it on you.
Right.
So take care of you so you can take care of everything else. If you don't take care of you, everything is going to go chaos around you. But know what bothers you and do what it takes to make sure you're safe and that your mental health is being taken care of.
Awesome. And Eugenia said the abuser isn't always a partner. Exactly. It can be a relative, adult children, and siblings. You are exactly right. It does not necessarily have to be your same sex or what you call intimate partner. It doesn't have to be your intimate partner. But the thing about it, the abuse is still abuse, regardless who it is. It's still neglect. It's still depression. And especially during this time. It's heightened because, like I said, everybody, you could drive down the street. I've driven down the street and saw in a window a house party. Looked like it was 30 people in there, and they was looking fun, like just like it was what's the movie Home Alone. It looked like one of them scenes, and something like that could easily. Because I'm not gonna lie, because when I saw that, I kind of got a little down, like, boy, I really missed them days. Just that instant. I'm driving down the street going somewhere to the store to pick something up, and happen to just look over in somebody's house, and they didn't have curtains on, so you could see all through the house, and they had all these people. They had the little drinks. That, you could tell it was a Christmas party or whatever. And immediately, just looking at that was a trigger for me, because that's what we had with all my siblings. But we don't have that now. But so what do we do when that trigger comes up? I could have succumbed to it and went into depression, came home and started, getting upset with my husband, and I could have did that.
Right.
But it's a choice. Even if it's not a choice, if you feel like you don't have the choice. It's been a while. It's tolerable for me. I'm not saying it's over, and I'm not saying I got it down pat. I do not. I just know how to tolerate it. And I think everybody on here was saying the same thing, regardless the relationship, the person, the death of the job or something, or your relationship or your person. It's not that you're getting over it. You tolerate it. You tolerate it. It's tolerable. It becomes more tolerable. You never get over the death of a parent. Never.
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 And we know that the triggers that come, as you were saying, Evangelist Bennett, that we have to know our triggers. Sometimes in the initial state, you don't know what the trigger is, because our lives have changed so much over the since March, since February. Our lives have changed tremendously. So what are the triggers now, and what do we do? The first thing I would suggest with anyone is that when you recognize that right now I'm feeling fine, I'm at the store, or I'm at home cooking, or I'm doing this, and my thoughts are good thoughts. And when you are punched in the side or punched in the head with a thought, and that's what it feels like at times, just a punch right there, that you shoulda, woulda, coulda, or this has happened, that has happened, you've lost this, you've lost that. Well, when that trigger comes, part of handling that is you stop, you pause, you take a pause. You take a pause in your mind and you say, wait, before I go down this street, let me try and pull myself back to where I was. And that takes a concerted, intended effort to take that one trigger, to take that one thought, because the moment you allow that one thought to wreak havoc on your mind, in your mind, then all the other little demon thoughts, all those other triggers will just compile themselves.
And that's what we tend to mess up.
Right.
We tear up stuff.
That's what I've learned, and that's what I tell when I'm speaking to someone. When that thing happens, because it comes through memory, and our memories need healing. But when that thing happens, if you can take a second and say, count to 10, count to 5, and reconfigure your thought process. Think on these things which are good, things that are pure, things that are of good report, things that begin to think on what happened to put a smile on your face. Think on the things that was positive, even in a negative situation. You begin to try and not rehearse, because that's what hurts us. When we rehearse the memory, when we rehearse the hurt, when we rehearse, and then please stay away from those that help you rehearse it.
Yes.
Those that help you go back down memory lane. That's not a time for you to call and talk to somebody that will say, yeah, girl, I know. You remember? And then they help to take you down memory lane. in a negative way.
Right. So we want to, and the triggers, some of the triggers, the thing about how to identify your triggers, I think Cynthia said, in the beginning, we may not know our triggers because we're thrown into something new, something different. And so the thing about it, to even find out what your triggers is, when you start breaking down and crying or whatever your emotions is, think back what happened that occurred. Something happened before, something triggered to even get you there. So I had to go back and look at, after I finished my boo-hooing and crying, what happened before that even started, so you can understand your triggers. Now, with this holiday season, those that are listening, and this is not dealing with you, but some people, reach out to them people. They are not okay.
That's right.
They are not okay. They are not okay. If you know somebody has dealt with any type of loss of their jobs and all these COVID deaths, the COVID death is just not affecting them. It's affecting their families, their friends, their loved ones. Call these people. Just say, hey, I love you. Whatever you got to do. You don't have to ask for a whole story, what's going on with them, but have the ministry of presence. That's what they need right now. They need ministry of presence. Be there present for them. You don't have to talk a lot, but just be there. If we could just do that, can do that, because we know a lot of people, especially like you said, Donna Scott, reach out to the strong friends.
That's what I was going to say.
Reach out to them. Okay. Because I appear to be strong, I break down too. But because when you're strong, people don't even think about that. You're often on the ledge by yourself.
Yeah, often what happens is we equate an emotional trauma with faith levels. And so my faith is not questioned because my trauma is affecting my emotions.
Right. That's good.
And so we hide it because we're afraid that other people are going to equate the two. That if it's emotional about what she's going through, then she must not have faith. That's a myth. Please put that aside. Jesus, even in the garden, his emotional trauma about going to the cross was so much for him that times he said, where are the people that can help me?
That's right. That's right.
We try to get... It is not a sign of weakness, a sign of no faith to allow other people to know where you are.
Yes,
and listen, we are not machines. Just because you say you are not a machine, you are human.
You have emotion.
If you cut me, I'm going to bleed.
That's right.
The thing that hurts one person can also hurt me.
That's right.
Me a Jonathan in my life who will be able to see who I am in the kingdom, but also accept my human flaws.
That's right.
And say to me, I see your flaws, I see your weaknesses, but you know what? I'm here to help you through that because I know on the other side, I know who you really are.
That's right.
To get to the place that we allow each other to be honest and vulnerable. Allow it, because as an evangelist in my depression, I wasn't able to tell people where I was. I had to suffer in silence because the perception was, and what I got on the phone calls was, you just need to get up and let God bless you. I couldn't get up. I promise you, if I could have got up, I would have got up.
Right.
But the fatigue and the darkness that surrounded me, I needed some intercessors who had enough empathy to go to God for me. Because guess what? I could not pray.
Right.
Give me somebody in my life that will go and stand in the gap for me. I'm saved with the title, but I still need somebody that'll stand in the gap for me. Don't hide where you are. Allow somebody to know. I'm not telling you to previously go out and tell everybody your business, but you need a strong somebody. Right? Because I might be strong today, but then I need somebody else tomorrow. So that they can support me. And many times this is helping us now to understand that our relationships prior to COVID was messed up.
Yeah. Girl,
Yes.
Now we locked in the house and we ain't got nobody we can call, and we
That's right.
got a whole bunch of friends. But now where they at? And
Where they at?
man, my relationships was trash. I ain't
Mhm.
real relationships. I had associates. We
Right.
come on, man.
because now we in the house isolated and we don't know what to do. I'm going to say this one thing from a medical perspective. I saw this study recently where it said the midbrain is the place that lights up or releases the chemicals for hunger. So when you're hungry, that part of the brain it lights up, and that's the same part of the brain that lights up when you are lonely. The parallel to that. When you're hungry, if you are not disciplined enough or in the right space, you'll grab anything to eat.
Come on there.
I'm just hungry. Give me something to eat. I don't really care what it is, right? The same thing with loneliness and isolation. When you are not disciplined or in the right space, you will grab anything that will suffice to soothe your loneliness, and that includes your abusive partner. When you wanted to flee from them prior to COVID, because isolation is causing you problems, you accept his behavior, her behavior, because your loneliness is crying out for something that you don't have the power to resist.
Right, and they have made them a codependent.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Them a codependent. You're a codependent person because
right.
what you wouldn't take, now you find yourself taking. Now you find yourself dealing with. Because you do all the time. Well, if I leave, you know, I'm not gonna have this, and I can't. You know, you have to have your made up mind. You have to.
That's
but it becomes abuse is a codependence, just like alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You have to wean that person out your system. It's not gonna be overnight.
Yeah.
But you can make an effort to leave. But what's on the inside of you regarding that person is not going to leave overnight. It's a process that you have to get out of your system, just like you have to get drugs out your system, just like you have to get marijuana or alcohol out your system. And guess what? And if you've been having sex, you got to get that out your system. Or you're going to be codependent to that thing, that's tied to you. And so I know we're over. I knew we were going to go over, but so you guys, I'm gonna ask you, each one of you all, to leave something for our viewers about this coping this time, because guess what? It ain't just next week. They got next week, New Year's.
Right, New Year's.
You know, and then the first of the year, because you know, this thing is not over where we gonna be just going back to some sense of normalcy in the next month. That's not gonna happen.
No, it isn't.
Still got to deal with it. Some of them still without jobs. Some of the things, you know, still with the kids. And as the young lady said, the elderly abuse. I'm gonna tell you now, that one that bothers me. Elderly abuse. When I get with these older people and they talking about how these kids abusing them for real.
Oh yeah.
I be want to put the advocacy hat aside and say something else.
Taking their money.
He ain't got no job, and you
going to their bank accounts, stealing, and
you don't have a job, and no, that's not gonna work. No. So anyway, ladies, I just really thank you. This was really enriching. I believe we're gonna have a part 2. We're gonna have to have a part 2 because you know, this is something that is actually, viewers, is on the website. I'm going to actually keep it here on Facebook and the YouTube, JADASA YouTube channel, but it also goes to our website page where you can see all the community enhanced. You can see every detail, every discussion that we've had is a hyperlink. You can click on it and go back and look at some of it. Share this with your friends because there's information out there about quarantining with your abuser. When you're quarantining a guest, there's abuse, there's depression that's setting in, and some folks do wish, you know what, I'd rather be dead than to keep dealing with this. So all of this is entwined. We need you to reach out, get on your Facebook page. You could tell by some of these people that's posting stuff. Call them, pick that phone up, call them, see how they're doing. Because when people are left in the house by themselves, I done dealt with 2 suicidal attempts, Dr. Scott. Yeah. And one of it, you know, is a young kid. Yeah. 13.
SAMHSA has reported that there's an 890% increase in crisis phone calls. 890. And let me say this for COVID, for people who have loved ones that have survived COVID. What they're finding is the steroid that is being issued as treatment for COVID in some people is causing psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that, so when they take them off of the steroids, it's causing a brain malfunction. And these people, so if you have loved ones who have been treated for COVID and their behavior looks erratic once they come back home, please follow up with the doctor so that they can give medications and treat that psychosis, because abuse arises out of that because paranoia sets in.
Mm-hmm.
And because they think that their caregivers, parents, spouses are somebody other than they are. The psychosis is causing that. And so they are abusive, and to the point of a murder suicide is what we're seeing. So if your loved one has been treated for COVID, you also want to pay attention to their mental wellness. Okay.
That is so true.
You anything, Cynthia?
I'd just like to say I had given my phone number earlier, area code 314-392-7146. And the reason I am extending that once again is that some that are living with abusers, you have to find a safe place within that place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very difficult to do it on your own. But there are so many ways of coping where you, it seems to contradict itself, a safe place in that place. But I can help you come up with, as much as I know, a safety plan within that situation. Because if you've never experienced abuse, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you have experienced abuse with a partner, with someone, you learn how to be safe within that abusive situation. And so I'm asking, especially during this time, please give me a call. If I don't pick up right away, leave a voicemail, and I am just an open door to helping anyone that stands in need of help at this season and time of their life.
Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you for that. Again, Donna Scott has a Facebook page. You can go to DMS Ministry.
Right. This website, www.dmsministry.org. And any information, my phone number's there, my email's there, anything, there's a submission for comments if you need to do that. Whatever you need is on that page, www.dmsministry.org.
Awesome, awesome. So also you can go to the JADASA website as well to look up any of the past sessions. Also, we have PowerPoint slides on the first page just talking about quarantining with an abuser. As well, Cynthia and I, we are actually in the same field of advocacy and dealing with that. So some of the stuff she's talking about, we do it as well. So there's a way you can remain safe while you're in your house. And this is different, you guys. We know it's a little bit different because, yes, we know there's abuse and we know it's inevitable that it happens. But the thing that makes it so diabolical now, you're in the same, even more diabolical, you're in the same space with them. You're in the same space. And so there's some people that could help you if you need to go to the grocery store. All of that stuff is out on the website to help you, because we want you to maintain your safety and your security for you and your children as well, because this stuff is really increased. And I'm not saying that the police are not going to the places, but because when you got such an increase, it takes them a while to get to you. Mm-hmm. So we want you to be safe. Again, so I want to thank Cynthia Crawford and Lady Cynthia Crawford and Dr. Donna Scott for this discussion about coping during this season. Whatever your season, we're not even physically talking about just the holiday season, but it's a part of this season. But whatever season you're in, there's something we can help you with to cope, because we are here. If it wasn't for me or somebody else helping me, I wouldn't be here. Somebody else helping Donna Scott or Cynthia, we wouldn't be here. So we're just reciprocating. We don't have it all, but when we put our hands together, we can come up with a plan. Okay. So again,
Amen.
I'm going to see you all. I thank you all. And ladies, don't leave out the broadcast room because I'm going to put the intro in, okay? So I will see you all in a couple of weeks. I think I will have a co-host for me because I will be out, I believe, on the 4th. So, but we're going to keep this going because whether I'm here or not, the community needs this information, and it don't stop with me. I'm not one monkey don't stop the show, and I'm that monkey. I don't stop the show. So if I'm not here, trust me, I'll get somebody. And now that I got Donna Scott and Lady Cynthia, I'll be pulling on them throughout the year as well. So I want you to have a good night. Happy, be safe. As I'm going to say that, be safe. Be safe in everything you do. Good night.